I've been lucky enough to be involved in Dan Workplace projects for many years. I love your brand's culture and the diversity of people. I know that positive client outcomes are what is important to the group and will spur rapid growth. You could say I'm invested and that I'm all in. The leadership and facilities management team have brought a new momentum, drive and excitement to the strategic thinking of the future workplace for Dan brands in Melbourne and Sydney. Firstly, Dan leaders want to choose a destination that their diverse mix of brands, people and clients will love to come to. Secondly, they are invested in creating an environment that all will thrive through collaboration, as well as having the appropriate type and style of workspaces that support specific activities. I'm your main contact and will be always. I see your vision and I work with a team that wants to take you there. Working alongside me are a diverse group of experts in project delivery, consulting, design, procurement, technical and relocation management. They enable me to do what I love to do. And that's to place Dan at the heart of Amicus and to get our service solution aligned with your hugely important need to deliver over 40,000 square metres of high quality workspace across 2 states and to run concurrently. You'll get to meet a few of these experts now.
Hi guys, we thought it'd be fitting to record the approach to a successful project inside Isobar's office, as this is the end result is a testament of approaching the project with the right critical success factors at the forefront of our minds. Specifically for the Melbourne and Sydney projects, the 3 critical success factors are: firstly, understanding Dan's clear objectives. What problems are we trying to solve? Let's identify these together and implement the right actions to solving. Secondly, providing a consistent level of service throughout the entire project. We all know Denise has set the bar high, so it's my job to ensure the rest of the team deliver. And finally, quality. No matter what we're doing for Dan, it needs to be executed to the highest quality. It starts with our presentation and finishes with a defect-free handed over site in a timely fashion. This is the Dan customer experience I personally want to achieve.
Dan will enter into an agreement for lease for either a new development or an existing property. And prior to doing so, Amicus will assist with the lease negotiations from a building's physical performance perspective. Our role during the building selection process is to represent Dan to achieve the best possible outcomes through careful planning and negotiation. Soon after we're appointed by Dan, we will establish a core consultancy team of design and engineering professionals through a tender and creative process. The successful consultant's first priority will be to establish the Dan building's performance specifications, which will set the basis for either the construction of new build or the negotiation of provisions from an existing building that may be selected. When the prospective landlord is confirmed and we verify that their building meets the required specification, Dan will then enter into a heads of agreement followed by a formal agreement for lease. Our approach is to work collaboratively with the building owner and their team, as well as Dan's facilities and legal team. Our goal is to set the grounds for a strong relationship that Dan will benefit from in the years to come throughout the term of their lease.
So I'm the CEO of Amicus. I know how important money is. Setting up the project budgets and the financial parameters for this important project for Dan is absolutely essential. We need to make sure the procurement strategy is set up at the beginning of the project, and we need to make sure it's watertight for you guys. Benchmarking the design of the products right at the front end, making sure they fit the design brief, making sure they're financially viable, and making sure they hit the timeline. There's 3 main outcomes we're looking to achieve through the procurement strategy. One is making sure we're setting up front-end volume discounts through the products and materials that are being bought. Secondly, continuity of supply for 10 years, making sure you can buy these things down the track. And thirdly, a legacy rebate scheme, bringing those discounts through a legacy period. Financial control, absolutely essential for this project. As CEO of Amicus, I know how important that is. We've got to do the right thing by you guys. We've got to control this project, and getting the dollars right is absolutely essential.
In my role as the General Manager of the Victorian business, it's my responsibility to oversee resourcing, programming and cash flow management for the project.
As the General Manager of the New South Wales business, I have the same responsibilities as Mark. What I bring to the Dan team is my knowledge and expertise in delivering large-scale projects.
From the outset, the resourcing will be absolutely critical to set us up for success.
I've just delivered a $75 million project for Johnson & Johnson, and the most important thing I learned was risk mitigation and how important this is to a successful outcome.
I will appoint a team that have the skill sets and expertise to take us through each of the key phases of the project. So starting with the workplace strategy, working our way through the pre-contracts phase, the design phase, and ultimately the construction at the back end of the project.
I have a great project delivery team here in New South Wales. I have absolute confidence in their ability to deliver a great project for Dan.
In terms of programming, a project of this magnitude requires strong programming from the outset.
The programming is critical to the success of this project because there are so many milestones that need to be achieved along the way. In particular, the ability to set the project up from the start with the workplace strategy will then provide direction for the planning phases and design phases thereafter. At the minute, Denise and Simon are already working through those processes with Dan, and there's an opportunity here to capitalise on the time that's already been spent on the project.
I'm here to work with the design and project management team to look after Dan's budget. And at Amicus, we do that by following a budget tracking process that ensures that at every iteration of the design process, we follow through with a budget, that we sit down with Dan and clearly articulate the changes that have been made to ensure that at the end of the process, there are no surprises for Dan.
In terms of cash flow management, we'll set up a robust cash flow management system to ensure that we have strong budgeting, strong forecasting from the outset, and share that information with Dan so that the project is set up for success once we hit site.
And we do that with the confidence of having a team made up of members of the Australian Institute of Quantity Surveyors and the RICS.
In Victoria, we're very excited about the opportunity to work with Dan again. We've delivered 3 very good projects thus far. We look forward to making another one.
In 1989, technology wasn't even an Excel spreadsheet in our industry. And I remember in 1995 taking a brief from a client. This particular client had heard about this new technology called the internet. Said to me, we'd like one of those in our kitchen, please, as part of the design brief. So a good example of how technology has been pretty pedestrian in our industry over the last couple of decades. But technology for Amicus is really important. It's something we've really embraced, particularly in the last few years as platforms and technology has taken off. Technology, we plan to bring this project in 2 ways. First of all, through visualization, so using things like these 3D goggles to visualize the space for you guys, to really get you into the environment, give you a personal experience before the fit-out's been built. Also 3D printing, we're using a lot with our clients at the moment. We're finding they really help visualize the space. But secondly, with technology, we find projects of this scale cannot be managed on email. It's really important that we collaborate with you in a different way that handles the scale of the project. So our online portal, our collaborative online portal, will be used as a way of project communication for this project. So I'd like you now to come with me on a journey through these virtual goggles so we can have a look at some of the work we've done before.
So to Andrew's point, technology is a great enabler and is often mistaken with innovation. But innovation is so much greater than that. Innovation is a state of mind. It's always to be looking at ways to improve things. It's always to challenge yourself to be better. And it's never to rest on what was achieved. What both research and our personal experience tell us is that there's a strong correlation between innovation and collaboration. An international study commissioned by Google found an 81% correlation between the two. So we know that in order to deliver on creativity, on innovation, on one of Dentsu Aegis' main aspirations, we need to create workspaces that enables collaboration within each company of the network as well as in between them. Our ambition, as well as yours, is to create a clever building for clever people.
So actually, both Denise and I, we've just been out at the Sydney property, having a chat to a couple of the managing directors from some of their brands. And one of the things that you'll quickly realise with Dan is it's really this ecosystem of various brands. The Amicus consulting team's really passionate about the support that we're currently offering to Dan. There's actually 3 phases to what we do. We're well into this first phase, which is around select. The second one is translate, and the third one is transition. In the selection phase, we've learned so much about Dan. We've learned about the DNA of the organisation, and we're supporting Dan by helping to sharpen this vision for what the properties are going to offer, both in Sydney and in Melbourne. In the translate phase, our job is to take all of that knowledge that we've acquired and to be able to translate that into the physical design. So we embed ourselves with designers, we bring world-class ideas and concepts, and importantly, we also help build consensus amongst the leadership team at Dan, which can be challenging at times. The third phase is transition, and what we know is that transitions can be practical and straightforward. There are some very practical elements to this, but sometimes there are some deeper elements to it where we start to try to drive some cultural change in the organisation, and we've got a lot of experience and we bring a lot of energy to that, with the aim that when we make this change, people are going to be able to fully bring their hearts, their hands and their minds to Dan's new home.
I want to be a part of something that is big, important and meaningful. I can tell you a story to this point today. It is still being written, and I want to be a part of Dan's story that is yet to be told, and for us all to look back in 2020 and say, we got that right because we got the relationship right to begin with. Simon, Lloyd, Luke and Justin. We love Dan and we love what we do. We all at Amicus want to be a part of your big, important story.